Finally, I've got the courage to finally try to tackle this discussion. There's a lot of talk on this on the internet already in the boot collecting world, and I'm proud to be the first on the internet to do a video review, world's first video review of Viberg boots versus Truman boots. And actually, I'm not going to call it versus, I'm going to call it a comparison review. Just because I don't think it's fair to kind of pick a winner out of these. This is not how I like to do things. I like to lay out all the evidence and then let you decide which is better, what you like better between both brands. What ultimately motivated me to do this review actually was I go on YouTube and I just search, random things. I typed in Viberg versus, and the first thing that popped up was Truman boots. And I thought, wow, people are looking for this. And guess what comes up? There's nothing. There's no actual discussion on the difference between these two boots. I really want to be thorough in this because I just want to do this right. As you can see here, we've got Viberg boots here, we've got Truman boots here. This is the entirety of my Viberg collection, these two. I have some more pairs of Trumans. I actually have 3 other pairs of Trumans that I will also feature. The only reason that I have more Trumans than Vibergs is because of the price. Trumans have just been a little bit more affordable for me up till now. The Vibergs are not cheap. Basically what you're paying for with Viberg is obviously the materials and the workmanship and some of the best boots on planet Earth. But you're also supporting, what I would assume would be, some overhead for Viberg, some company overhead. The Truman boots, that is basically a one-man operation or just a few people operation at any given point. So it's a smaller company. You're not paying as much overhead. For the most part, you are getting basically the same materials and similar workmanship. If I'm going to be perfectly honest, I think Viberg is a step up in terms of workmanship. I've had some inconsistencies with the Truman boots, I do have to admit. For example, my newest 3 pairs of Trumans, actually the sole is not glued in, so you could actually reach in and pull out the insole. Just it's not anchored down by anything. Comparing that to my couple of Truman boots that are a couple years older, those insoles are they're cemented down. I can't pull them out. They're glued down really well. So, and the same with my Vibergs. The Vibergs are glued down really sturdy. They're not coming out. But yeah, this pair and this pair, I had to actually glue down myself, which I did not enjoy doing because, it's my first time doing that, and it seems like the first time you do anything, there's some unexpected sort of issues that could arise. In my case, I slathered the glue all on the inside, and then I tried sticking the insole in after that. What happened was the insole got stuck on the shoe goo because it was still fresh and it wouldn't go in. And so I had to pull it out, and the shoe goo was getting all over the inside of the boot. And it was, I was kind of freaking out a little bit, like, oh crap, did I just ruin something? But no, eventually I did get it in all the way. I put the boots on so that the sole was real firm, adhered, and then it dried, and it's fine. I learned that you actually have to put the glue on the insole and then insert it, and that's a much cleaner operation. Anyways, there's just a couple little things like that. And also on some of my Truman boot videos, some people have pointed out certain imperfections. Again, I am not in any way against imperfections. In fact, I love imperfections on handmade stuff. As long as it doesn't affect function, I love the imperfections. Because guess what? These are boots. You're going to wear them. You're going to trek them through the dirt. You're going to scuff them on things. You're going to scrape them on things. You might trip in them. They're not going to stay perfect. So there's no reason to be overly judgy on the stitching and on every little detail. It's not what a boot's meant to be. A boot's not meant to stay pristine forever. It's not like a diamond ring. These are meant to get beat up, and they're meant to look better as they get beat up. So that's why I could just never get around this idea that, oh, these are supposed to stay perfect looking forever. I'm not on board with that at all. I want to get these broken in. I want them to look like mine and true to me. And so that's why I have that philosophy.
Alright, so here's an example. I haven't glued these soles down yet. So these are the Navy Horse Rump. These insoles aren't anchored down at all, so as you can see, these are leather, and they're pretty nice. The only problem is so you can see the bending here. Yeah, since they're not anchored down, you can see some of the creasing. I notice sometimes it starts to sort of mold and crease when I'm wearing them, which isn't ideal. Like, they don't want to stay flush. They don't want to stay flush. Oh, there's an example. See the creasing here. And so as I wear it, like, this is going to start to contort and bend, and it's going to form like uncomfortable creases. And so for that reason, I'm going to glue those down. I will add that I emailed Vince, and he said that the reason that he doesn't glue them down anymore is because he said some customers like to use their own inserts, which I could see that being the case. You know, there are some inserts that you can get, like orthopedic inserts, you know, that you could throw in there, and that would definitely make it easier. But yeah, he said you could just glue those down if that bothers you. So that's what I'm gonna do, actually.
All right, so getting ready to glue these soles down. As you can see, I got my handy dandy shoe glue here. It's gonna be real easy. Well, at least I think so. Okay, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bottom of the sole, take the shoe glue, and then get a nice, all I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna kill it. I'm just gonna do a nice line down the center. That's all I'm gonna do. I think that's really all you need to keep it in place. I mean, I could do more.
I want this, Daddy.
Oh yeah, it's a video.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do just a couple more.
Yeah,
Basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of fold it like a taco, and then insert it like such.
Daddy, like this.
Hey,
Like this.
real careful. Now I'm gonna do the other one. The good thing about this shoe glue is it's not permanent. Like, I've used this on my Alden crepe soles before, and it helps them stay together because they separate sometimes. And they'll stay together for a long time, but then eventually they'll separate again. So it's not like a super permanent fix. I've read on some cobbler forums that there are a lot stronger rubber cements that you can get that'll really be more permanent. But for the purposes of this, all you need is some shoe glue. This stuff really is a miracle worker. So yeah, as you can see there, and then just gonna again fold it like a taco. Try to get that in without getting any of this shoe glue all over the place. And again, if you get some in there, it's not a big deal. It'll wipe out, and if not, guess what? It'll dry, and then you can pick it off. It doesn't leave behind anything permanent. So it's nothing to worry about or freak out over. I'm gonna put these on just to make doubly sure that it's where it needs to be, so that it forms to where, mostly to where my foot is going to be. It's going to be positioned properly is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, like I said, this stuff is mild. It's not, if you get a dab on your leather, it's not the end of the world. Just let it dry, you pick it right off. I even got some on my hands. Just comes right off. If it comes off your skin, it's going to come off your leather. Use common sense. Don't go rubbing your suede shoes down in this stuff and then complain when you ruin the suede. And so now those will stay on. Once that dries, those will stay on forever. There are some dings in the workmanship of the Truman boots. Like I said, that insole wasn't a big deal, but it's just something I noticed. I'll go by introducing these. These are my Viberg Service Boots on the 2030 last. These are in standard brown Chromexcel leather from Horween. It's a very thick, probably the thickest Chromexcel leather I've had. There's a rough out on the inside. It's not smooth on the inside. I talked to some of my friends who also own Viberg, and I was telling them, like, yeah, these weren't comfortable for me until about the 5th wear, but they thought that it was comfortable from the first wear, just like that. Just like the Alden Indies are comfortable from the first wear. that was their opinion on the Viberg service boots. Now me, with both of these pairs, it took just a little bit of breaking in, not much, but yeah, day 1, day 2, you know, I could feel some heel rub going on because there is the rough out leather on the inside. It's smooth on the outside, but rough out on the inside. Unlike the Alden Indies, it's smooth on the outside and the inside. I enjoy the rough out though. I think that's cool, and that breaks in really nicely over time. So it's not a big deal at all. So these are my color 8 Viberg service boots on the 2030 last, also in Chromexcel leather from Horween. I did a review on these, so you probably recognize these both. Design on these is virtually the same, except these have a perforated cap toe, and these do not have a perforated cap toe. And then this one has the black tongue, and this one has the matching brown tongue. So this black tongue contrasts against the color 8. And then to further enhance that contrast, I put these rawhide black laces on there, which I think really kicks it off. Okay, and then so here we have the Truman boots. This is called Gaucho Moose Hide. I also did a review on these, and since then, raw indigo crocking going on here, which is really cool. You could probably see it there. My selvage denim has started to bleed onto these, and it's really pronounced right here. It's not actually pronounced on the other side or on this side or on that boot, really. It's just this one side for some reason. Don't know why that is. It's not the boot's fault, it's the jeans' fault. I see some crocking going on at the top here. On the inside of the tongue, and then on the pull tab there's some more crocking happening, which is really sweet. I love that. So, and then these have a brown contrasting tongue. And then we have my Truman boots in color 85 Horse Rump. So that's horse butt leather. Not to be confused with Shell Coeur d'Avon. Shell Coeur d'Avon's a lot more glossy and perfect looking. The actual Horse Rump has some more imperfections going on. And then this one has the matching color 85 Horse Rump tongue as well. Love that Horse Rump leather. That's quickly becoming a favorite of mine. These are built with the structured toe, whereas the rest of these are all unstructured toe. So you could maybe see the difference there, structured versus unstructured. And then these obviously have a lug commando sole, versus the rest of them all have dainite soles. So as far as sizing goes, okay, so these are Vibergs on the 2030 last in size 8.5. These are Trumans on the standard Truman last in size 9. You go true to size with the Trumans. I'll show you the sizing. You can actually see that the Trumans are still a bit shorter than the Vibergs. Well, then again, I'm not using the same. I'll use both the right boots here. So yeah, the Trumans are actually just about they're about a ½ inch shorter than the Vibergs. I just wanted to get a shot in the natural light so we could hopefully pick up on some of the subtle differences between these boots. Again, we got Trumans here, we got Vibergs here, and Vibergs here. And this is my first pair of Trumans. These are my Trumans in black Chromexcel. I set those off to the side for a reason. In terms of doing a shape or a last comparison, these aren't very useful at the moment. Natural veg tan belt from Pigeon Tree Crafting. Gotta show that off. Alright, so anyways, it dawned on me, I was doing a little bit of reading, and it dawned on me that I think there is a good comparison between Truman and Viberg here that I'm going to talk about right now. This is the Viberg 2030 last that these are both built on. These are both built on the Truman. Now Truman doesn't name his lasts, but these are built on the Truman unstructured toe. I would say that these lasts are pretty comparable. I would say that they're kind of close. Now, like I was talking about before, the Truman boots are a little bit taller. Again, the Trumans are in a size 9. The Viberg 2030 in a size 8.5. The 9s in this would have been way too big. So I just want to give that. The shape in the Trumans, toe box is going to be a little bit more round. The Vibergs is a little bit, just slightly more pointed, not by much. Like I talked about before, you can see that the Truman is about a ½ inch taller, maybe a 1/4 inch taller. So, but yeah,
they've all got rawhide laces on, which really set these boots on fire. I think they really look so good with the rawhide laces. But so yeah, the Truman toes, a little bit rounded. These are on the Blake welt, not stitched down like the rest of these are. Yeah, just slightly more pointy on the Vibergs compared to the Truman. But the last shape kind of looks pretty similar. Let's get it. So yeah, on the green, the color 85, there's a heel cap. Obviously on the Viberg, we don't have the heel cap. It's kind of a heel cap and a back strip all combined, whereas the heel cap and the back strip on the Trumans are actually separate pieces, you could tell. And then yeah, the color 8 Vibergs are built the same way. The heel cap and the heel strap are both separate pieces, and then on the Navy Horse Rump, you could see there that heel strap is just one piece and there's no heel cap. So that's pretty neat. And then I'm also wearing these Trumans in Gaucho Moose Hide. And this is about probably the 20th time I've worn these. Here's a good example of how they're breaking in. Got a little bit of a scuff there. I scuffed, I think, a sidewalk there. What's that? That's this that's going on here. But yeah, they're really looking nice. Let's see, here's the other boot. There's got some indigo crocking here, some raw indigo bleeding in. And yeah, aside from that, they're breaking in pretty nice. So the reason I set these off to the side is because these are on a structured toe. So I'll give it a comparison. Not a lot different, but different enough. You can maybe see the structured toe is just a little bit more bulbous, a little bit more sturdy looking. The unstructured toe will collapse over time and give it a nice creased look, whereas the structured toe, that's supposed to hold up over time. And yeah, these are also built on the structured toe. Let's see if you can see that. So anyways, the reason I wanted to talk about that is I don't have any Vibergs on the 2040 last, but if I had to compare the Trumans, I'd probably compare the structured toe on the Trumans to the Viberg 2040 last. I have a buddy who bought the Vibergs in waxed flesh on the 2040 last. I gotta say that from what I remember, they look pretty similar, and looking at pictures online, they look pretty similar to the Truman boots with the structured toe. Now, I did read recently that Truman was going to discontinue doing the structured toe. I don't know why, but I guess he was going to convert to doing all collapsed toes on all of his boots. I read online once when I was actually considering buying a pair of Vibergs on the 2040 last, but it said you should actually go down a half size further from your 2030 last. For that reason, they didn't have 8s, so I didn't order it, and I'm not sure of the veracity of that, because doing some research online, some more research, I didn't see that anywhere indicated that I needed to order a size smaller for the 2040 last. But the reason why I think that was interesting was because, so this is my first pair of Trumans, and I had an issue with the sizing on these. Originally I did order true to size, ordered a size 9. They felt huge. Now these are also on a size 9, and they do feel big. So since those felt so big, and the eyelets were closer, so since the eyelets were closer on the 9s, the eyelets were closed shut when I'd put the boot on. They were totally closed shut, and I could just tell that once they broke in, they were going to be way too big. Well, so I sent them back, and Vince made me a size in 8.5 and sent those to me, and I'm like, wow, these are perfect. Let's compare the Truman 8.5 to the Viberg 8.5. The Truman in 8.5 is a little shorter there. 8.5 Viberg. So yeah, the true to size would have been the same length. I think my problem wasn't just the eyelet spacing. You can see the eyelets are real close on this model. So I don't think my problem was just the eyelet spacing. I think the eyelet spacing was an issue. Yeah, see, just a hair shorter. What I think got me, it was the structured toe. I think the structured toe actually added a lot of room to this area of the foot, and it just made it feel floppy for me. The unstructured toe is actually way more comfortable for me because it conforms to my foot shape a little better. So I can corroborate that. When I got these in, they felt kind of big. I ordered these in a size 9, true to size, because I had ordered these in a size 9 and they fit phenomenally. Again with the collapsed toe though. So true to size 9, collapsed toe, fit phenomenally. 8.5, collapsed toe, they fit phenomenally. True to size 9, collapsed toe, they fit phenomenally. Went down half a size to 8.5 on these with the structured toe, and they fit phenomenally. 8.5 with the unstructured toe, they fit phenomenally. Well, these are 9s in Truman on the structured toe, and they were roomy. Again, roomy. Despite having the eyelets were further apart, they were still roomy. And so what I did, and actually that issue with the insoles that I talked about earlier, that inspired me to go try out a new pair. So I got a new pair from Merrill.
All right, so I'll just show you. These are the original inserts that were in the Gaucho Moose Hide Truman boots, and yeah, you can see I had glued those down, hoping to keep those in, but they just pulled right back out. It wasn't a problem. Yeah, these are the ones that I ended up getting. These are from Merrill. These Air Treks. Now these are nice. As you can see, they're just a little thicker. Just a little thicker, and they provide some more orthopedic support. You can see there. Those are sort of thin cork soles, and then these are just going to be a little thicker. And so, stick those in. Real easy to insert. And then, yeah, let me tell you, they're real ergonomic, and they fit great with these. They really eat up some of that additional volume that the structured toe creates there. And they fit really comfortably now. So stick those shoe trees in there. What is this, amateur hour? Always gotta have shoe trees. No boot goes without shoe trees. That's my rule. There's a little bit more of that indigo you can see. That's cool. That thing, I threw that in there, and it was just a little thicker than the original Truman insole. And I could say now conclusively that these fit like a glove. So I think that structured toe just added a little bit extra volume to the point to where I felt like my foot was flopping around, because it wasn't the length, and it wasn't the eyelets causing the issue anymore. It's just that the structured toe, it comes up, it's just a little bit more, that structured toe, it just has a lot more volume in throughout this whole area. It's not just at the toe that it has volume. It has a lot more volume just throughout this whole area. So in retrospect, had I just kept the original black Trumans in 9s and just threw in a different insole to eat up a little bit more of the volume, they would have fit fine. Instead, these do fit great, and they're really well broken in. They really fit awesome. The whole reason why I read that about the 2040 last, about you want a size a little smaller, I think that's partly why, is because of that. The structured toe adds a lot more volume, and that was something that I never had ever considered. I just thought, oh, the shoe size is going to remain, constant from pair to pair, but that is not necessarily the case. Sizing can get tricky, and it's not necessarily anybody's fault. Everybody's foot is shaped differently. I have a high arch, and I just found out, being at the Merrill shop, I put a lot of pressure on my heels. I like my boots to fit generously, not loose, but generously, because it provides for the best blood flow. Well, not everybody likes that. Some people like their boots to fit nice and snug, and there is nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong when it comes to fit and comfort. That is all your opinion, and nobody can tell you otherwise. I've been in both areas. I grew up wearing shoes that fit really tight. And you know what, there's a reason why I was always kicking them off at my desk. But before I got into Alden, before I got into Viberg, I was wearing Clarks, and I was buying them probably just a half size small, and I was kicking them off at my desk every day because they were cutting off my circulation. And I didn't know at the time. I thought that's just how stuff was supposed to fit. But then I tried the generous True Balance last and the generous 2030 last, and my mind was blown. So anyways, I hope this helps a little bit. All right, so in conclusion, both of these boots are phenomenal.
I love both brands very much. I think that they're both top quality workmanship. They're both made of top quality materials. Are you getting the same thing if you buy Trumans as compared to Viberg? You're getting a lot of the same stuff. It seems that they source from the same places. Truman does use Chromexcel leather, similar to this Chromexcel, which is made at Horween. Truman sources from Horween. This Gaucho Moose Hide is obviously unique. Truman does run some unique and exotic leathers, and he does that very often. So that is a plus. Horse Rump from the Merriam Tannery. Vince is, he's constantly looking for new opportunities to do makeups with new leathers. From what I could tell, Viberg is somewhat more traditional. They kind of stick to sort of what they know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So they do source from Horween. From what I know, they also source from Charles F. Stead. They get their suedes and stuff from Charles F. Stead, which are very nice. Viberg is definitely a flawless boot. There are a few minor imperfections on the Truman when it comes to workmanship. I do have to say that the stitching on the Viberg is a lot more flawless, and it seems that the work is more meticulously executed from a perfectionist standpoint. But for the most part, it's hard to say one's better than the other because, you have a real dainite sole here on the Viberg, dainite sole. Then on these, it's the same sole. It's the same dainite sole. On this, it's the same dainite sole. With the Vibergs, you have the double stitch down welt. On the Trumans, double stitch down welt. Blake welt right here. The eyelets here, they're the same diameter, so they accommodate a nice thick leather lace, which is good. They're very similar, and so if you're going for the quality, if your concern is the quality of the materials, these are all virtually the same. I'm pretty sure that they source from the same places, like I said. When it comes to workmanship, these are just going to be a little bit more refined, in my opinion. Workmanship on these, it's not as exact, I'll say. But again, these are boots, like I talked about before. They're meant to get beat up. They're going to get beat up regardless. So they could come to you perfect. They're not going to stay perfect for very long. I don't know about you guys, but I don't buy my boots to walk around on marble flooring everywhere I go, just to keep them pristine all the time. The tongue is stitched in all these except for this pair. The tongues are all stitched down, so they're not going to shift on you. You be the judge. I mean, look at that. I mean, they're all beautiful. They're all gorgeous. So it's really hard to pick a winner here. The main reason that I have more Trumans is just because they started out more affordable. I think I got my first pair of black Trumans in Chromexcel. I think those were in the upper 400 range. Now, the prices are coming up on the Trumans, whereas the Viberg prices have stayed the same. I just checked. They're still $690 for basically these same service boots, whereas these Trumans, they're creeping up there. These reach, I think, like $540. Quite a jump. And these materials are more rare than Chromexcel, obviously, but the Trumans are going for a little bit more now, and these were $580. These were almost $600. So $580 compared to $680. I mean, you be the judge. They're still cheaper, but not by much. As time goes on, I expect the Trumans to go even more up in price, just because he's going to continue to offer exotic leathers, really nice exotic leathers. He's going to continue to refine his craft and get better at his workmanship. With that, the price is also probably going to go up. Viberg it's an established company. They've been around for a really long time. They're an incredible company. The gap in the price on these is closing. So, further down the line, if I'm looking at a pair of Trumans in a certain material that I want and Viberg is offering the same one, that's just going to depend on a few factors. I really hope that I gave some good comparison notes on these boots, and I hope that this helps you guys if when it comes down to deciding, because like I said, I see so much talk on forums and on Reddit and all over the place about how Vibergs
and Trumans compare to one another. And in my opinion, I mean, workmanship, the style of the workmanship is just a little different, but overall you're getting the same materials. And if it's the materials you're after, then you're getting that. It's not like going from, you know, I see some debates, Red Wing versus Alden. Well, okay, quite obviously that we're comparing apples to oranges, because Red Wing uses much cheaper materials than Alden does. Red Wing does not use premium materials. They use, you know, their leather almost feels like beef jerky, and then you feel the supple Alden leather, and it's like silk. You know, it's very supple and it's very nice and it's very good quality, just like this. All these, they're very pleasing to the touch. They're very high quality. Whereas Red Wing, you know, they're a great brand and all, and I'm not knocking them, but to compare Red Wing to Alden, you're really comparing apples to oranges. Like I said, they're not even in the same league. Red Wings look good, but when you feel them and you smell the leather, it's not in the same arena. So if you understand that, then you'll understand that these are very much the same level, very much on the same level as one another. So again, I hope I've done this justice. I hope you found it informative. Please let me know what you think below. And I'd also like to leave a special call out to my buddy Rich Meyer. He told me how to refine my YouTube filming skills, and basically instructed me to bring the angle of the camera closer in on what I'm talking about, and cut out the rest of the backroom noise. So thank you, sir. That's been a great help. I do plan to incorporate that in future videos. And I am on Instagram. My username is AeroSurferLV. You could check out my page. I post boot pictures quite frequently. That's usually what it's mostly all about. So if you're into nice boots, well, that's what I like to talk about. I hope you enjoyed the review. I hope you found it informative. And again, please leave any comments of what you think below. Constructive comments are always more appreciated. Remember, you catch more flies with honey. So anyways, have a good day. I hope you enjoyed the review.